Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, welcome, Lindsay. Thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate it. And I'm super
Yeah.
excited about this topic because this has been so heavy on my mind because I do have a neighbor that helps me, that helps me post occasionally,
Mhm.
but it's not me and it's not my stuff. And I've been trying more to be authentic and show my face a little bit more. So I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Um, I first want to go through like you tell us a little bit about you and who you are and what you're all about. And then at the end, don't let me forget, like I want people to be able to connect with you. I'll put your website up, all those things, like what
Uh-huh.
services you provide, all that. So don't let me forget that. And yeah, we'll
Yeah.
ask some questions.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Well, I'm Lindsay Barrace. I have lived here in Asheville with my husband for 4 years. We had a new addition besides our dog Indiana Bones, but 7-month-old Jack Fox. He is just the perfect. I can't believe I am a mother. Like it's crazy. And he started crawling, so that's like big doings. Like he is that he's saying mama breaks my like and not breaks my heart, makes my heart like swell. I'm like, oh my gosh,
That's so sweet.
like all the little things. And I do um, I'm a filmmaker at heart.
Uh-oh, did we lose you? Lindsay, I think we lost you. I can't tell if it's me or not. Do you mind going on Facebook, Kristen, and seeing? Oh, shucks. Um,
Says you're live.
do you see me moving around? Or am I frozen too?
You were moving just a minute.
Okay.
But it looks like Lindsay's frozen.
Oh, shucks. Uh-oh. There she is. And she's muted. Hold on, you're muted. Yay.
I was just texting you. I'm like, I don't know what
Okay.
happened. There it goes.
That's okay. No problem at
Um,
all. It happens.
I don't know
So,
where I lost in the conversation.
so you
Oh.
said I am a filmmaker at heart, and then we didn't hear
Mhm.
after that.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Oh, well, I'm an award-winning filmmaker. Got some films under my belt. I am a cinematographer, camera operator. My husband and I own and operate a production company since 2012. But then during the pandemic and lockdowns and everything, people were coming to me asking me all social media advice because I'm the queen of social media. And I'm like, wow, I could be getting paid for this. I didn't even know that it was a job. Um, 20 years ago, about that, I don't know. I started working for YouTube when it came out, and pretty much involved in social media since the beginning. And so with businesses and people and entrepreneurs coming to me being like, hey, what can I do? How can I get on social media? Can you help me? I realized that I could be getting paid to do this. So my husband and I, he is primarily doing the filming now because of the baby. It's kind of a little harder for me these days because I am breastfeeding. So he's like eating every 2 to 3 hours. And then I do all the back end stuff and getting it out across to socials. I also do social media coaching. So I help people navigate the world of social media and tell them and help them and show them where they should be out online, where their target audience is, but more importantly, how to be authentic. So that is something that I love to talk about because so often people come on and they're like, oh, I gotta dance. I have to lip sync to this. Like, and they do it and it comes across as they're trying too hard or it's bad and it's just flopping and it's failing because it's not, a cookie cutter style world out there. Social media is so great to put yourself authentically out there and to show who you are and what you're all about. And especially, for real estate agents, people want to work with you. They want to see who you really are. And sure, you could be the dancing real estate agent if that's your thing, but don't feel like you have to do it just because it's a trend. There are ways that you can be trendy, and still be your authentic and true self, and just finding your style, finding your online in the world of social media with being authentic.
I love that. Okay, so you're breaking up a little bit. I don't know, is
Okay.
it internet, you think, or?
I don't know. I'm on my internet and the bot, it's like right there.
Right
It's
there.
this little
It's right
wooden,
there.
yeah.
Okay, well, I can hear you good
So,
now. So I'll just tell
okay.
you, I'll put my hand up or something if I can't hear you very well.
Okay.
So let's get started. So how do you
Yeah.
think social media can help female real estate agents showcase authenticity? Like how can that help us? How can it help with clients? Like how can it help their engagement? All those things.
Yeah. So with real estate agents, there's a lot right in the Asheville area. And why does someone want to work with you is they feel connected to you and they feel like a friend. They feel like they could really relate to you, or that you're going to help them and you're going to be there for them because you're being trusted with either selling their home or getting them into a home where that's going to be their forever home or family home. So they really want to have that family-like, friend-like relationship. So with putting yourself on social media, it certainly helps to show your personality, right? If you're showing up in your stories saying like, oh, like using your example, right? Your social media, you are showing that you're traveling, or that you're having family night dinner, or what you guys did for Halloween, or things like that. And people are like, wow, I really relate to Corey because I'm also a mom, or I did the same thing this weekend, and they connect on that level. And whether they're in the process of looking for a real estate agent, or they're thinking about down the line, showing up, they're like, oh, I think I follow someone that I really connect. And, she's a real estate agent. Let me reach out to her when they're ready to buy or sell or everything like that. So kind of connecting on that level, it brings it to a whole other level. Like you're not just selling a home, or you're not just helping them buy, sell their home or buy their home. You're a part of their lives. Like you are getting them into their dream home, their family home, or helping them sell something that they've been in for 30 years, and it's really hard for them to let go, of, oh, this was my house, my kids, I put notches on the door, but we have to downsize or things like that. So it's important for them to feel that connectivity, to feel like you're not just checking boxes and, working for that commission. They want to feel like they have a friend, and social media really helps you build that connection with that audience of people that you want, to work in that relationship, and vice versa. It's an equal exchange. So it really helps show who you are. And that's why it's important to be authentic on there.
Yeah, it's so true. And you think about, I always tell, other real estate agents, you do business with people like, and trust. And to get that no part, if you're not, we used to say this in sales, belly button to belly button, then you need to do it on social media and show your face. So I love that. In your experience, what types of content resonate most authentically with an audience that we would have?
Yeah.
I loved what you said about being a mom and showcasing that a little bit, but what else?
Yeah. I think just showing your story on the day to day.
Oh, shucks. Can't hear ya.
I'm going to text you. Oh, nope. There it goes.
You're back.
There it goes. It gives me a little warning. It says internet is unstable on like, so I don't know.
That's okay. You're good. Talk now until the satellite comes. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, shucks.
Yeah.
Great.
So to your question, showing up in stories, I think is really good.
Mm.
You know, it lasts 24 hours, like Instagram or Facebook stories, is I feel like that's the target audience for real estate agents. I don't think they necessarily need to be on TikTok. You can certainly, you know, build your content or, you know, repurpose your content over to there. Definitely LinkedIn as well works for certain things, but showing up on your Facebook and your Instagram, mainly Instagram stories, right? But showcasing the area that you are in, where you know, might just, instead of just making a post that says, here, I have this home in Beaver Lake, it's a 5-bedroom, blah, 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 right? And your static graphic post, going into your stories and saying like, oh, I have this home in Beaver Lake, and did you know that there's this place called Montford Deli right down the street? Have you guys ever had it? And you're pulling or saying, have you ever had it? Not you guys, but saying, have you ever had it? And making a little question and having that interaction, because people love to talk, right? And they love sharing and connecting. And that's what social media really at its core is all about, as I like to say, is that it whittles the world down to a more manageable size. So being like, hey guys, hey, I'm sorry, I keep saying guys, hey, you, right?
That
In
is
the
a
sense,
northern thing.
well, yes, but the reason why I'm like correcting myself is I think it's also very important that when people address on social media, they're not coming on and being like, hey guys, or hi guys, welcome back to my channel, because you're not talking to a whole group of people. Even though, you know, you might get 100 views or in the thousands, there's still just probably one person watching that video at a given time, maybe two if they're sharing a screen or whatever, but usually you're talking to that one-on-one person. So immediately when you address someone being like, hey guys, or hey y'all, or something like that, this person subconsciously is like, well, I'm just one person. And it's an immediate swipe. And there are statistics that show that. So making sure that you're talking to a one-on-one person is also beneficial
I
for
love
success on
that.
social
Writing
media.
that one down.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. But showing your area. So being like, have you ever tried Montford Deli? Have you ever tried such and such a place where you have a home for sale or selling a home, talking about the area? Also, there's a lot of people that have moved here in the Asheville area from other places, myself included. My husband and I, when we were looking for areas, what did we do is we looked hashtags on Instagram to see the local post, messaged groups, Facebook groups, looked at YouTube videos, and we found it really, really beneficial to see videos of the area, especially from real estate agents, because that's who we wanted to see. We wanted to see, you know, parts of the area and just showing like what the street looks like. So yes, you have, you know, a home on Vermont Ave, right? It's Halloween. Let's celebrate West Asheville by mentioning Vermont Ave, right? It's good to know that they do a big celebration on Halloween, so that if you buy a house on Vermont Ave, you better have a budget for Halloween candy. So it's like things come into play. So just showing up on your stories really, really helps on a day-to-day basis. Like, even if you're having a bad day, why not talk about it? Why not share that? Because it's also relatable too. Like, like I'm stuck on traffic on 40. Like, you know, they're having construction, just warning you guys, or just warning you. Here I am with the you guys again. Just warning, if you're watching this and need to go to the Asheville Mall, they're doing construction, you know, something like that. And that's good, because it's, people are like, wow, I understand that. I relate to that. I'm not going that way, or I'm glad that she talked about it. So I think stories is a really great way to connect to your audience in a short form, something that lasts 24 hours and then it's gone, because you could also save those as highlights if you wanted to. So you can save Beaver Lake, right, as a little highlight. So when people go to your Instagram, they see, oh, well, here's, Beaver Lake section, or here's West Asheville, here's North Asheville, like all these homes that you've had in the past, buying, selling, but the area in general. Even if the home sold 2 years ago, it's great to have that highlight still up there because you're still showing the area. So I think that's really great way to show up on a day-to-day basis while being authentic, because it takes 15 seconds to post a story. You can make one story a day and you're connecting, how many people see that story,
It's so good, and it's so nice to see. I see a lot of people see my stories, and it's nice to be like, oh, wow, they're watching me. What's going on?
Yeah.
And then it's a good way to circle back around and prospect that way. Like, hey, I was just thinking about you. How are you doing? Even though you saw that they've been watching your stories.
Yeah.
That's I love that. That's really good.
I also think connecting to your followers too.
Yes.
So if you have a follower come in, don't just say like, oh, I had 3 new followers this week. I think it's really important to message your new followers and just shoot them like a, hey, thanks for the follow. I saw, like, go to their profile, maybe look at the last few posts. Maybe they're interested or moving or something. You kind of gather like based on their like little bio, but just, thanks so much for a follow, and connecting with that way. It really helps.
Yeah, that's good. Mic drop, Lindsay. Doing that. That's awesome. Are there specific platforms or strategies you recommend?
I think if you make time to schedule out your content, for certain things, especially, you can make a bunch of graphics, right, in Canva that talk about different areas, different history of the area, fun facts, right? And that's content that you could schedule out a month in advance, right? And that way you always have something going up across online. And then that gives you time, so that oh, what do I have to post today? Shit, I didn't, sorry, pardon my language, but like I forgot to post something. I haven't posted anything all week because I've been so busy. But if you, just Asheville fun facts, right? Or ask Chat GPT, and also make sure when you're using Chat GPT to check your sources, because it does run, if you're using the free version, it is running off of like data that's like 2 years old. So kind of like checking your facts, seeing things, but using that as a nice source to get some information, and then, circling back, checking on that. But creating, fun facts of Asheville, or fun facts of, whatever area that you are in, creating graphics and then scheduling them out for the next couple of weeks. Gives your page, a general look and feel, right? Because all the graphics, you're going to pick the color that you want, a scheme, a look of things. And then you could pop in having a reel here. Then you could pop in with a house that's for sale when it does come, when those opportunities arise. So having that kind of those filler posts, but they're also beneficial, right? Because you're providing educational content, you're providing useful knowledge. As far as platforms, I do like Vista Social overall. I used to be really big with, I'm even forgetting the name of the platform, but there's like different schedule platforms that you could use. But
Planoly, I feel like you were big.
Planoly is another one. I forget, but I was just having so trouble once they kind of do their updates. And Vista Social I like because you could do a whole bunch, and you could pay per account. So you could pay, say you just want to do Facebook and Instagram, You know, I think it's like either $3 or $5 per platform.
That's
So
awesome.
that's a really good way to kind of, instead of being like, oh, well, Hootsuite is like $100 a month, you know, and I'm not posting on TikTok. I'm not posting here. Like, I don't need that. So Vista Social is really great. It has a calendar view. You can drag and drop and move things all around. You could also use it to post stories. But if you don't want to pay for something, there's Meta Business Suite. It is a pain in the butt to use, but it is free and it is there. And that just is Instagram and Facebook. And you could also plan your stories out as well. And when I say planning your stories is like putting those informational posts, just putting them out on your stories as well. As far as, what was it, platforms and
Strategies.
strategies, definitely making sure that you're showing up. People want to see you. Don't post and ghost. That's my favorite. And it being Halloween, it's very fitting. But posting and ghosting is, don't just like make a post and then get off the app. You know, and it doesn't mean that you have to do it right away. Maybe, but go back and take time, respond to comments. Definitely. Don't be like, oh, I got 5 comments on that reel. Make sure you're responding to comments. I do like, you know, messaging new followers. I think that's really important. I also think commenting on comments or like-minded content. You know, hashtag Asheville. Hashtag 828 is great. Seeing what the popular hashtags are, just going in, whether it's on Instagram or, you know, another platform, and saying, I'm just going to engage with 5 posts. So, you know, going to hashtag Asheville, right? And the first 5 posts that resonate with you, pick one, look at it, comment on it. I think also commenting a question, and, you know, not just something like, love it, thumbs up, smiley face, but really, really engaging with people. Because it's not just about the person that you're engaging with. It's also helping the algorithm for your own content and what you want to see. So don't just pick the first 5 posts. Make sure you're picking posts that are resonating with you as well, or people that you want to work with or be around with, or the areas that you are providing, you know, your services for. But, you know, showing up in the comment section as well. And this goes for Facebook too, as well as like talking about Facebook groups. Definitely involve yourself in groups, group meetups, networking events, even if they're virtual networking. But, you know, not just, you know, oh, there's this real estate event, you know, seeing what free events or networking type, you know, design weekend is this weekend. Dave and I sit on the board of AIGA, and that's a design, talking about all aspects of design. And it's not just for graphic designers, right? There's going to be someone from Adobe giving a presentation. So seeing what like they're doing, they're having a mixer on Friday, showing up for something like that, because you're designing your post, right? You're going in and you're making your content, and it's kind of beneficial to talk with other designers or see what the trends are, especially. But it's a two-way street. It's not like, you know, a give, like give me relationship. You want to have that, here, I offer this, oh wow, you offer this kind of exchange. And Asheville has so many networking events, and it doesn't have to be a real estate event. It doesn't have to be a you know, something for an area event. It could be for a cause that you believe in. You know, maybe it's for the Asheville Humane Society. But like just showing up and being a part of the community that you live in, I think is a really good strategy, not only for your business, but for your own mental health as well.
So good.
Yeah.
There was something in, I'm reading the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People or something.
Yeah.
I never get the title right, but it talks about 7 ineffective things. And one of them says just that, like, don't go into nature and do the things you love and, listen to good music and art and things that inspire you. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, so good, because it's so true. Like, I think we can work, or just try to post on social media. And it's really important for your followers too, I think, to see that authentic, like what you love to do and see you
Yeah.
doing, like you said, like I've posted about my travels and like
Mhm.
doing those things too, because they'll connect with you that way.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Okay, I want to be respectful for your time. Do you have
Yeah. No.
time for a
Oh
few more
yeah. Yeah.
questions? Okay, good.
He's good. Like I said, I'm like, oh, I fed him like right before this call. So
That's awesome. Perfect. Yay. Thanks, Lindsay. Okay, so let's see. Do you have any examples of female real estate agents that are successfully balancing professionalism and authenticity on social media that you can think of?
you're doing a very good job.
Oh, thank
So I have
you.
to use you. I saw that question. I was like, wow, I don't, I think you're doing a great job. Especially like showing your authenticity, showing up in your stories, showing your life. Um, not just work life, that you're showing your life. And it's like, oh, I know Corey, right? Because of her stories. I actually, one of my one of the women in my mom group was just like, how do you know Corey? She's my real estate
Oh,
agent.
oh, that's so
We're
sweet.
like really great friends. And I was like, very similar. Like,
Oh, I love
so I
that.
think you are doing a good job. I think there's a woman, and I haven't dove into her content that much, but Katie Lance, she does a lot of like uh advice about reels and hooks and how to present yourself on social media. Dave and I have a client back in Northeast Pennsylvania that we've worked with years and years. They work for an agency. Because I don't know if all the agents.
We're
So
broker agnostic
yeah,
for
yeah.
everybody.
Yeah. They work for Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Pocono Real Estate. Kim Stevens, she has a really great Facebook advice, and she shows up authentically. She does a lot of like life coaching work. So she ties that in with real estate. So she's a broker, and has her own, she's a broker, and her son works for the company, and they're showing up on their social media end of it. And she comes on and talks about quotes that she loves and why she loves them, or books she's reading and why. And I think that's important too. Like, oh, I just really read this great book. You just talked about the 7
Yeah.
effective ways or 7,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like too
Yeah.
long.
Yeah. But there's an example, like talking about this, like, oh, I just read this chapter and it really resonated with me, and talk about it for a little bit and then ask, how do you feel about that? Did you ever read this book? I'd love to hear your opinion. Let me know in the comments or shoot me a message. And they connect with you on that level. She's running a really good, another is a friend of ours here locally in Asheville, Asheville City Living, I think her YouTube is. She does long format excursions, if you will. Like, she'll visit local area, like here we are going to Black Mountain. It's a 20-minute deep dive of Black Mountain, and all the things to do. It's a 15-20-minute video of all things West Asheville, and like they go to like all these different places, and she films it like for a month's time or something like that, and edits it all together. So really good like format YouTube video, especially like if you're like moving to the she takes it to another level. And she primarily is doing YouTube, but she's only make one video. But like something like that.
That's
And
great examples.
I
That's
don't know,
awesome.
I just say, yeah.
That's so awesome. Oh, good. Deli's you. Oh no, I lost her again. Lindsay, there she is.
There it is. Yay. I was like, we were doing so well and it froze.
I know it's doing so good.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was awesome. What role do visuals play in conveying authenticity, and how can female agents use them effectively? So, like you said, I think about visuals that we create, like this is the percentage of the market, or this is the interest rate, or this is what's going on. How can we make that more authentic? Because some people will get that from Keeping Current Matters or things like that. So do you have any ideas or thoughts?
Like showing statistics? Is that what you
showing
mean, and how
statistics.
to?
Yeah.
I think, not just I can't think of their names, real estate agents, but I've seen several where especially they do like a green screen effect. So they have the statistics behind them and then they like point,
Yeah.
like do that. And then they're
Good.
showing their face while talking about the graphic, because it's one thing to post a graphic. And it doesn't have to be green screen. I could have, I have all this crap behind me. There's a bassinet, there's my husband's dad, like there's lots of going on in this room. This is what happens when you're a new mom. You're just a new mom with a very tiny small house. That is not a window, that's a closet. But I didn't want, I knew that I was going to be doing more videos here, so it's just making your space.
Yeah.
And that's a thing too, is not being worried. Okay, like, yeah, I have a lot of junk on me, but I'm a new mom. I have a 6-month-old, and it's hard for me to like juggle all the things too, and being authentic for that. So like, don't worry. Like, yes, of course, if your house is like so crazy messy, like, yeah. But like showing, okay, I didn't get to vacuum this week, and like just sharing about that, and people relate, to that. But I think that's a really neat effect. Especially like if you're on Instagram, it's just green. It's called green screen effect. You just remove the background, it removes it for you. You stick the graphic up of whatever it is, and make sure that people kind of clearly see it. Posting it in the captions as well. Use your captions, fill your captions, right? And if you think like, oh, well, my video is only 15 seconds long, it's not enough time for someone to read that caption. Good. You know why? Because they're going to pull it up and they're going to read that long caption, and your video is going to keep playing in the background. So that one view now turned into 4, because it's like letting that video play. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So utilize that captions,
Yeah.
fill everything and say like, more information, read the caption.
Yeah.
And there's like graphics that you could, like you could put in, like read the caption, or have it pop up towards the tail of your video, fill the caption with more information. People are then reading that caption and your video is playing, then it creates more view time as well. So then that tells the algorithm that people like watching your video and watched your video multiple times. So then it starts showing up in more feeds. So use that caption.
That's so smart. I love it. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so you kind of talked about this, like the vacuuming thing and things like that. But do you have any, oh gosh, I lost my question. Oh yeah, how do you suggest handling challenges or setbacks? Because I know it's good to kind of have that transparency, but I struggle with that. Like I want to be, the pretty perfect things, but also I'm like, no, like this sucked and this is how I need to share it. But I have a hard time figuring out a way to share it. So
I think sharing in a positive light, not just going on, social media and complaining. I think there's a lot of that. I think there's too much of that. I think a lot of the times I'm more so gravitated towards Instagram over Facebook, because Facebook tends to have more of that complaining.
Yeah.
And I think that just letting go of the complaint factor, but still saying, I had a bad day, and there's a way to positively look at it. I had a bad day last week. I came into my stories and I talked about it. And it was hard for me to do that because I was just like, oh, I'm not wearing any makeup. I'm breastfeeding my child. But I'm like, I think it's important to share that like not everybody has their stuff together. And I even said, like, people that say that they have it all together are either psychopaths or they're lying, right?
Yeah.
Or they're both. But we had a day planned for Thursday and our childcare fell through, right? So Dave went on a shoot without me, and I was with the baby, and it was all the things. It was, you know, blowouts and crying, and I wasn't able to get anything done. I was lucky. I don't even think I ate until he, um, but like sharing, hey, but you know what? I am grateful because I love the life that there's love my son. I love my husband. I love like thinking that, like that attitude of gratitude, but also sharing like the woes and trials, tribulations and things in a positive light. Don't just be like, oh, this, whatever, oh, this sucks. I also think it's important not to badmouth businesses. A lot of times they'll write negative reviews or share about their horrible experiences. I think that's something to like leave, unless it's like a really, really bad, horrible situation. But I think especially like as real estate agents, I think it's just share about positive experiences in that aspect. But you can certainly say like, oh man, I had a really hard time today and I went to a place, I'm not going to name the place, but such and such happened and now this is how I overcame it. I think that's important to share. But there are ways to complain without complaining by just sharing, and it helps you as a person. Because there are so many things for us to be grateful, right? There's so many things in the world that are just awful, right? And we're so lucky that like right now I'm sitting in this warm house. I have a roof over my head. I have food in my mouth. I have a beautiful family. I have this friendship with you. We're connected. We're on this. I'm not on this computer so far, like, you're, a distance, but yet we're having this communicative chat and sharing all these things in an instant, in real time. And I think that's important to address and to talk about and to share, like, yeah, I had a bad day, but also I'm so grateful for all that too. Because in those times that things go all crazy, you might have, a client that they lost to there were 3 other offers and they lost, and coming on and being like, hey, it's a sad day. I had a client and we were really hoping to get them in this home. And, there were 3 other offers and they lost the offer. And it just was such a perfect home for them. But you know what? There's something out there that's going to be even better. And I can't wait to show them that home next.
Yeah.
There,
And I've seen it over and over, right? Yeah. I've seen it over and over again where someone finds their best, or that house just wasn't meant to be their favorite. Yeah. I love that.
And just like sharing that, like, maybe it fell through for a reason. Maybe they didn't, pick the offer because there's a home out there that's way better for them and they're going to be way happier. So like, but just sharing that aspect, and and it shows authenticity as well.
That's awesome. Are there particular trends or changes in social media that you think women in real estate should be aware of for engagement?
I mean, trends, like anything. I mean, I just think of clothing. I'm a child I grew up in the 90s, a teenager in the 90s, right? I see all that fashion coming back, right? So I necessarily don't follow trends to a T. I use them to like influence and kind of help with things. I have jumped on trends that I resonated with. So don't just do a trend to do it. I just like clothing, right? We're talking about that. Like, I think early 2000s, a big trend was to wear tights underneath shorts and like those floppy boots. And I hated it. I didn't like the look. I was just like, but I'm like, it's trendy. And now I'm like, wow, I wish I didn't do that because I didn't like it then and I don't like it now. And it looked stupid.
Yep.
So the same thing goes with internet trends. If it doesn't resonate with you, don't do it. Don't feel like you have to like lip sync or dance or, share all the use trending audio. Like, if you don't like it, I think that's the trend that people have to jump on, is just being you. Just
That's
be
awesome.
authentic. As far as, what was the other part of the trend? It was,
Changes in social media.
it's always changing. Instagram for an update, it literally has an update every week, every couple of days. I feel something new is changing. And I think that's just staying informed on that. Follow Instagram creators, for example, just to see any new updates that come about. Staying in the techno, that not techno as a dance, but staying in the know of technology. And that's just simple as following, Facebook's actual account, following, Instagram's account, seeing what they're talking about, because they're going to come out and say, well, this is happening. This is, we're rolling out this new thing, or this isn't working. I think of things like Clubhouse was so big 2 or 3 years ago. I forget when it came out. And I thought it was really going to take off. And now no one is like, what's Clubhouse? What is this? I have no idea. Like, I think it's still around. I don't know. Yeah. But that was like a big platform. It was kind of podcast in real time, which was like really cool. It was just this, without video on its own. I shouldn't say in past tense, I believe it's still around. But finding, also talking about trends, like, if Instagram isn't your jam, don't feel like you have to post there. Don't feel like you have to post on, like, find your platform and just be there.
Yeah, that's good. So the last question before we wrap up is, I struggle with helping other real estate agents with like personal pages or business pages, and then like sharing kids to not sharing kids. Like, I know where my comfort level is.
Yeah.
But I know everyone's so different. So do you have advice on like how to be authentic when you're a mom with kids? And also, part 2 of that question is personal versus business pages.
Yeah. Boundaries, your own boundaries, setting your own personal boundaries. If you don't want to show your kids on the internet or show like that, you could still talk about being a mom, use celebrities as an example. I think of Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard. I adore them and I'll follow them and everything they do. And they even have baby products, Hello Bello, right? But they don't show their kids. They're, put little smiley faces over their kids' faces or blur out their kids. So they're still showing, being a mom or whatever. They just put a little emoji over the baby's face. You could do something like that. But definitely, setting your boundaries, and not worrying about what other people think of those boundaries. And I'm saying this also for myself, because I'm, battling that. Okay, like how much should I be posting about my son or talking about my son or my son on social media? Because I want him to be safe as well. Like, people, know what section of town I live in or something like that. And like, it's such a crazy world too, that you have to think of like, oh, well, who is viewing about my, son online? And so, that is why I have multiple accounts. I have my personal account on Instagram, and then I have my business, which is now rebranded to be named after my son, and I put my son as the mascot. And I'm talking about, being a mom, and, now have this podcast where I'm sharing and talking about, talking with other mompreneurs and sharing like how that life work balance of it all. And that's important for me to show that I am a mom, but also setting those boundaries of what's the extent that I'm showing my kid's face. Should I tag that? Also, I think one of the big things that I do is I never post in real time with my child. So if I'm at an event, like we did a wonderful Halloween event over the weekend, and what I did was I waited until the next day to post about it. And that way it's not showing, oh, I'm at this place at that specific time, and sharing that I go there, because I don't want people to see that information. And just, setting those boundaries online. Maybe it's setting your personal page to friends only to view. And not worrying if there's someone else that posts something, like post your child or your home life or things like that, and saying, hey, can you take this photo down? I don't appreciate it. Don't worry about those. Oh, well, what are they going to think? Or am I being, the B word if I'm asking them to take down a photo of my child? No, you're not. And they could come back at you and be like, well, I'm sorry, you posted the photo, so I thought that I could share something, and be like, well, you didn't ask me to repurpose this photo or something like that. So I think it's very crucial that you set those boundaries and stick to the boundaries that you're setting, and not caring about what everybody else is doing, not worried, especially when it comes to your children, that they're going to be upset if you ask them to take down a post or something like that. And I'm sharing this because I just recently dealt with this, because my mom took the photos of our Halloween fun and shared them on other areas of social media. But I was like, did you take the photos? No, they weren't your photos. And you're putting them up online of my child. I love you, Mom, and I know that you want to show off our awesome costumes and all the fun that we had. But it's my son, and you have a public profile, and like, just addressing those issues when they do come about. So it's really just boils down to boundaries, setting them, sticking to them, but having that conversation with yourself. Even if it, like, sit down with a piece of paper, pen and paper, and say, I'm going to have this conversation with myself. What do I like about social media for myself? How do I want to represent myself? What areas of my life do I want to share? What areas of my life, like a pros and cons list, right? But use like what areas I want to share, what areas I don't want to share. There are certain things like that my husband and I love to do, or go out and things like that, and or with our son as a family thing. There's a lot that we don't share, and because it's just our thing, we had a great night, even though I took like 10 million photos, right? Let's say. But, it's just really boils down to what you feel comfortable with, and not worrying about what everybody else is going to think.
I love that. Yeah, it's so true. Boundaries. It's
Yeah.
really up to you, because any other thing is going to work for different people. And I think that is a great answer too to the personal versus business. I think it's whatever you feel comfortable with. And for me,
Yeah.
having a business page is really good because I can run ads and all those things,
Mhm.
but also like I have a private personal page. So I share
Yeah.
my kids more so on that. And of course my kids are on my business page, but different. It's just different.
Yes, it's different.
Um,
It's yeah,
mhm.
that's the same exact thing that I do. It's I share more about our day-to-day lives on my personal. Um, I think I lost my train of thought because you had said something and I was like, oh, that like, oh, asking permission. When you are somewhere and you take photos, right? So being that this discussion, we're talking about real estate here. You had buyer, like a family come in and they bought a home and you take a group photo, ask them, hey, I'm going to be sharing this on my social media. Is this okay? You're standing in front of your house that I just put for sale as a family, say it's a family of 4 with 2 little kids, and it's showing like the address, the house location, and everything like that. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Right? You want to show that you help them get in a home, but ask them if it's okay before, you go putting their photos up. Maybe it's just blurring out the address using tools, using the, blur retouch apps on your phone, blurring out the address, blurring the kids' faces, or putting emojis, like emojis. I don't know why I said it like that. But like put like, those things, because you have to think of, and it's scary at the same time that we have to think like that. But I think it's very important, we're showing another person's life. So respect, not only set boundaries for yourself, but respect other people's boundaries and ask for permission, especially with all kinds of things posting on social media. If you're sharing someone else's content, someone else's face, or someone else's photo.
Yeah, that's so good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Lindsay, so much for your time.
Thank you.
You folks really need to connect with Dave and Lindsay. They are amazing folks to be a part of, but Lindsay in particular, get foxymedia.com,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And then she also has a podcast, which has been amazing to listen to, Foxy Mama.
Yeah, the Foxy Mama.
The Fox
And the Foxy Mama podcast. And that is every Thursday. You were a phenomenal guest. We'll probably bring you back. I'll bring you back for part 2 of it. We had so much to chat about. And it's just mompreneurs, entrepreneurs, and parents in general sharing about the work-life balance, and all things, to kind of be like, hey, I'm going through this, and maybe you can relate, maybe you can't, you don't, or you want to save it for later, or all things parenthood in general, for 2023, 2024 and beyond, the modern day guide to parenting for entrepreneurs, mompreneurs, and all small business. And my husband is Asheville Video Marketing, and together we have Voyager Creative. And yeah.
That's so good. So good. Well, thank you so much, Lindsay. Really appreciate you. And yeah, have you a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. I'm sorry the internet kept going. I don't know.
Okay.
It's strong now. It's going good.
That is just
Yeah.
fine. I guess I stop everything. Let's see.